going to have to skip the speech. Right. Okay. It is so good to see everybody here today. It's a day that seems so far away, but you know what? It is finally here. Woo! So a big round of applause on a positive day where we can see all family and friends. Now, there might be a few here that are thinking, hold on, there's two of them, there's two best men. But if you know Boyd, he will never skip an opportunity to use a buy one, get one free. I remember first meeting Sheilas, and her and Boyd met on the dating app Plenty of Fish. She told me all about when she first set eyes on him, and how the other nurses had to convince her to go on a date because she weren't keen on his profile picture. But it's a good job you went along, Sheila, and I hope Boyd didn't try any of his old cheat moves on you. He's got all new cheat moves. But listen, we've known Boyd for a long time now. We have known him for a long, long time. But we actually knew who he was long before we met him, because he was that one kid at school that had jet black hair, leather jacket, walked with a cane. He was a type of kid you'd see on an American news channel being arrested. So if anyone's confused, I'm Rob. And I remember having my first drink with Boyd, and it was at my 18th in Chapeltown. He was about 15, 16 years old, and we were chatting at the bar, and he was studying his dad's baggy shirt. And he was wondering how am I going to buy a drink? I'm 15, 16. I said, don't worry mate, I've got it all under control. I'm 18. Somebody bought me a drink, and I slipped it straight to Boyd. Shared our first beer together. And 15 years later, it's safe to say that baggy shirt now fits him. And if you couldn't guess, I'm Tom. And I first properly met Boyd when I think I was 17, and we were at a mutual friend's party. And it was going all right to start off with, but then this party took a bit of a turn, and we weren't really interested in what everyone else were up to. So I just remember it when me and Boyd sat on settee, and I looked at him and I said, you know what, dude? There's a trampoline in garden. So we went outside and we spent all the early hours jumping up and down on this trampoline, quoting Ghostbusters and Dumb and Dumber. And you know what? That's probably where we became best mates. You know? And 17 years later, we still quote those films, but we haven't been on a trampoline since. So, how good is this then? A wedding in a room with more than 6 people. Boyd was actually tempted to go ahead with reduced numbers, but it's like he says, 30 guests is only 30 gifts, mate. But I'm still shocked at what you had to do with the wedding invites. Not shocked about the numbers, just shocked you're still invited Tony. But you know what? This could actually be one of the first weddings since the restrictions lifted a little bit. So in a way, we are making some history. You know, we are making some history. But that feels weird for you, boy, because you usually just delete your history. Listen, another thing. I can't believe that we're here on a Sunday. It's not that there's anything wrong with getting married on a Sunday. It's just that we have never, ever, ever been able to do anything with Boyd on a Sunday, because he always gives us the same excuse. I'm off to my nan's for tea. Rob, it's 36 degrees outside, we're going to go play football. Can't, I'm off to my nan's. Rob, Pamela Anderson's in Chapeltown. I'm off to my nan's for tea. But then, Rob, there's a fiver outside Tesco. I'm on my way! But no, all jokes aside, round of applause for Sheila, the bridesmaid. Sheila, we're very sorry to hear that some of your family couldn't make it over from Germany. Especially since England are going to batter them on Tuesday. You know, it's coming home, you know it is. But I'm sure that they're going to be thinking of you, they'll be wishing you all the best. And Rob, it's nice to see all your friends and family and even John.
made it. just goes to show what some people will do for a free meal. This has got to be one of the first weddings that has ever gone ahead without a proper hen do or a stag do. But we did actually have a small surprise stag do for Rob back in July last year.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was a semi-stag do, and we basically all hid in his kitchen and waited for him to come home from work, and we were all hiding in there. We could hear him on the other side of the door. Come on, Blaine, come on, you know. And as he walked through, we all surprised him. But in the end, you know what? It just turned out to be a regular night at Boyds.
Yeah, Boyd being dragged around on a lead wearing a gimp suit.
Listen, don't worry, Rob, because once this is all over, we will give you the stag do that you deserve. You know, it's only fair. We won't let you down because you will do anything for anyone.
Unless it costs him fuel.
Yeah, or unless he's got to pay anything.
Or if it means going out of his way, he's not drinking.
Yeah, or if it means getting up early.
But other than that, he's very reliable. I mean, it's literally just helped me move house. I couldn't have done it without him. So.
I remember one time we actually ordered some pizzas, and he was that worried about people getting different size slices. He got a tape measure out.
That's the man who likes things fair and square. I remember when he got his first job, and he finally started earning a wage. He was ready and willing to pay board money to his mum, Sharon. And then a month later demanded his name on the deeds to the house. Was that the man?
You know, he is so thoughtful in it. I can't think of anyone else who would do that. But listen, a best man speech would not be complete without a funny story about the group. And this was a few years ago, but I'm pretty sure Rob will remember.
And it was back when we lived at our mum and dad's in Chapeltown. And he was in a sleeping bag in Marlborough. And in the middle of the night, nature called.
Yeah, so up he got, middle of the night, buried all in his box. And off for a week, Rob went, but he was as quiet as he could because everybody, and I mean even the dog, was fast asleep. And off he went to the toilet.
And feeling a little lightheaded, Boyd trotted on downstairs and went to the downstairs loo as the upstairs was broken. Half asleep, he took Abe into the toilet, and one thing he'd forgotten about was the house alarm that we told him about the night before. The alarm went off full blast, waking everybody up, including the sleeping dog. And Boyd jumped that much, I think he ended up with some on the ceiling.
Yeah. So without a second thought, my dad jumped out of bed because he thought we had an intruder. So he ran downstairs and he ran into the kitchen and Boyd was just stood in his pants. But that was alright because so was my dad. And my dad looked at Boyd and said,
Hey up.
and then Boyd said,
Hey up.
yeah. But while these two were giving each other pleasantries, all of a sudden, blue and red lights started beaming in through the window because the alarm was connected to the police. And because they didn't turn it off straight away, the police turned up to see what was going on.
And as both my dad and Boyd stood there in the pants covered in red and blue lights, it was like a scene from a George Michael music video. Now things have changed since then. And for example, me and Boyd are now fathers, both with young daughters. And we often talk about the joys of fatherhood. And I remember we were in IKEA and I said to him, how long do you usually bath Evelyn for in a night? And he said, oh, I don't do bath time, it stresses me out. So I said, alright, what about tea time? Is she a fussy eater? He said, oh no mate, it's a bit messy, I'm not keen on that. So I said, alright Rob, tell me one thing that you enjoy about fatherhood. And he looked at me and he said proudly, to be honest, mate, I do like the lions when Sheila gets up. That one's for you, Sheila.
But Rob, we are so honoured that you asked us to be your best men.
And you truly have been our best friend for a long, long time.
And we've had our ups and downs, we've grown up together, we've travelled together, and you know what, we've matured together.
And now you've made your vows with Sheila. Till death do you part, remember that you'll always have us in the guys. And I still find it weird now that we get to call Sheila Boyd.
In all seriousness, you know, we have had some good times, and I'm sure I speak for everybody in this room when I say that recently, good times have been few and far between. let's take today, tonight, and even the hangover in the morning to just look at each other and finally have something to celebrate.
And the last 18 months have been difficult for everyone. And anyone who's felt it or struggled, don't suffer in silence. Let's all be there for each other and let the good times roll.
And Rob, Sheila, thank you for inviting us all to your wedding day. It is so amazing to have something to finally celebrate.
Now here's a random fact to finish off with. And I'm not sure if any of you know this, but Boyd actually owns part of the moon.
Yeah, I remember him telling me that he's bought part of the moon. And I said, no way, that is amazing. Where did you get that from, NASA? He says, no. I said, the space station? He says, no, eBay. So, Sheila, I think you technically own part of the moon now.
Sheila didn't believe it when that came up in conversation. She got to see a certificate that he printed off, and he'd even got to write his own name on it.
But you know what? It does take a genius to figure out where your honeymoon's going to be.
So, thanks for everything, guys, and we wish you nothing but happiness as you go forward with your family, Mr. and Mrs. Boyd.
And if everyone could join us and raise your glasses for a toast.
Right. To Mr.
And Mrs.
Boyd.
Boyd. Mr. and
Cheers.
Mrs. Boyd. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you.